Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Coding Heights. This is Rasina with you. Hope you all are doing good. So, in today's video, we are going to learn about exception handling in Python. So, before we dive into exception handling, we need to understand what is the difference between error and exception. So, errors are the problems that occur in the program due to the issues like syntax mistakes or running out of memory. For example, I will write some code like if true, I'm writing something like print hello. Okay, if true, print hello. But here is some problem is there, right? This is some error. If I'm going to run the code, you can see like syntax error. What is the error here is we need to put a colon here, right? So now I'm going to run this here. You can see we get the output, right? So this is one kind of error, that is syntax error, right? So errors typically cause the program to fail during the compilation or runtime phase. Okay. Now what is mean by this exception? So exceptions are the problems that occur during program execution even if the syntax is correct, right? That means the syntax is correct but still it is not working. Okay, so examples we can say trying to divide a number by 0 or accessing a file that does not exist. Okay, so for example I am writing something like print 3 by 0. Okay, so now here you can see we got some exception like zero division error. Okay, that is division by 0. Exceptions can be handled and dealt with so the program does not crash. Okay, so think of errors as fatal mistakes that break the program, while exceptions are like unexpected hiccups that you can recover them. Okay, so why do we need this exception handling? Programming involves like unpredictable scenarios, like a user enters some invalid input, right? There will be some form to submit user details. So the user is entering some data that is not accepted by that input box. At that time also there will be a chance of getting exception. Or something like a required file is missing. That is also we can say as an exception case. And also a calculation goes beyond the limits, like there will be some data range, so our calculation goes above that. Okay, so without exception handling, these issues can cause the program to terminate abruptly, like it is working as an infinite loop or something like that. So with exception handle we can respond in a good way or in gracefully to unexpected events like this. Okay, so now I will explain how we can handle exceptions in Python. So Python uses try, except, else and finally blocks for handling exceptions. So now you can see I just pasted the syntax for this try, except, else, finally block. Okay, and I will explain this all part. Like try is the section that the code might raise some exception. Okay, and the next one is except exception type. So this is the section where we can handle the exception. And else block means like if it runs if no exception occurs, and the last one finally is every time it runs if the exception occurs or not, whatever it is, but this code what we are mentioning in this finally block will execute every time. Okay, so that is the syntax for this try, except and else and finally block. So now I will write a program to handle zero division operation. Okay, so that we will get a clarity how this exception handling working. Okay, so first I will write a program like handling a zero division error. So for that our aim is to divide two numbers. For that I am declaring two variables like num1 and num2. So here I can input I can get input from a user, like I can write enter the numerator. Okay, numerator, and same like I want 1 4 and the variable like num2 also. So I'm simply pasting here and just changing this as num2 and here I'm changing as denominator. Okay, so that's it. Now I am going to run like result equal to num1 division num2. Okay, and I'm going to print this. Print. I can write something result, then comma that variable name, that is result, right? So now you can see here when I'm going to run this code, enter the numerator, right? For example, I'm giving 6, denominator I'm giving 8, so our answer is something like this, right? It is okay. But whenever the user is going to give a num2 like a 0, then what will happen? We can check that also. So I'm going to run this here. For example, I'm giving 8, then 0. You can see an exception, right? Zero division error. This is an exception. So how we can avoid this situation? So for that we are using this try, except, else, finally block. Okay. So for that I can make this inside a try block. Okay. So this is all in my try block. Okay. And now here I can write my except, like except if that error name is zero division error, right? If zero division error comes, then what to do? That I need to give inside this block. Okay, so I need to give some messages like you cannot divide by 0, right? So I can give you cannot divide by 0. Okay, so that is our message. Okay, now I can run this code. So here I am giving 7, then the denominator 0. You can see we are not getting any exception. We are getting a good message like you cannot divide by 0. Okay. So that is a working of this try except. Here I will also include that else and finally for your clarity. So here else, what is mean by this else? This block of code will run if there is no exception, right? So I can just simply message there is no exception. I will just print a message like there is no exceptions. Okay, and finally we learned like that it will execute every time. If there is exception or not, it will execute every time. So I'm simply messaging hi from coding hives. Okay, so now we can understand this one more time in best way. Like I'm giving a numerator 3 and denominator 4. You can see there is no exception, right? So it print the else part also finally will print every time, right? Now we'll check with that 0 case also. So here I'm giving 3 then 0. You can see this is the exception, right? This is the except block. Also this this is from our finally block. Okay, so I hope you got the clarity like how this try, except, else and finally block works. Okay, so now I will tell you how we can handle multiple exceptions. Okay, like the first exception was zero division error, like the denominator should not be 0, right? And the second is something like, for example, I'm giving a value which is, I will show you that, then I will for example, I will run this code and I'm giving here numerator some letter. You can see we got one exception like value error, right? Like invalid literal for in with the base 10e. So this is also another type of exceptions that the input which is we are giving is not accepted by the code. Okay, so that is the thing. In that case we need to add one more exception, that is value error exceptions. Okay, here I'm again adding one code like except value error. Okay, so if that case, what we need to do, we need to give a message. You can enter only numeric values, right? So that I can ask please enter numeric values. Okay, so now I will again run this code here. We can see I wrote white we got an exception like please enter numeric values. Okay, if the user enters non-numeric values, a value error occurs. If the denominator is 0, a zero division error occurs. So each except block is it is designed to handle a specific type of exceptions. Okay, next I will explain you how we can raise our own exceptions. So these are the built-in exceptions like this value error and zero division error. These are the built-in exceptions, but we can also raise our own exception that I will tell you how we can do. Okay, so that is the next one, like raising our own exceptions, raising our own exceptions. Okay, I'm accepting some input from the user, okay, age, and I'm giving a message like enter your age. Okay, enter your age. And so this is in the variable age, and I am going to check if I can check something like age less than 18, then I need to erase an error. Okay, so I can raise a value error. So this is our own exception, raise value error. I can say you must be 18 older. Okay, clear? Otherwise only you can say like we can say something like print access granted. Okay, so in this case I will make the above code or comment, then we will check that. Okay, now I'm going to run this code. You can see it is asking age. Okay, so I'm adding 23. So this is access granted, right? Now if I'm giving a number which is less than 18, what will happen? You can see we get a error, like a value error. You must be 18 older. So this is like a custom rise exception. Okay, now we can also include these try exceptions inside a function. That also I will explain here, like using try inside a function. Okay, so for that I'm writing a function like divide, and here I'm writing this try inside this function, and here I'm simply return like a by b, but I need to pass this a and b here, right? So I can simply pass a and b here. So I'm returning if it is okay. Otherwise I can make an except. I can make a zero division error. Then I can simply say return like cannot divide by 0. Okay, clear? So now we will call this function here like a print divide. Then I can give two numbers, right? Okay, run. I'm coding. I run the code, so you are getting output something like this. So if I'm giving 0, you can see we will get that exception, right? Like cannot divide by 0. So I hope you understood what is meant by this exception handling and how we can achieve this in Python, and what is the difference between this error and exception. And if you have any doubt or anything I need to include in my videos, please add in the comment section. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.